Hi, welcome to the Mobile Application Development Learning Series. My name is Ghanashyam and I am the Head of Technology and Ecosystem Enablement at Beehive Private Limited. In this video, I am going to give you a brief introduction to the Android world. In this video, I'll be talking about what is Android. I'll be talking about the history of Android, why you have to develop for Android, and a brief overview of the Android architecture. Also, I'll be talking about the development tools required for Android application development. And finally, I'll be showing you a demo of application development using Android. So, what is Android? If you split the name, it becomes Android. Droid is a robot. So, Android is a robot with a human appearance. If you see the logo of Android, it is a green robot which looks like a human being. But in technical terms, Android is a software stack for mobile devices that includes an operating system, middleware, and key applications. Now, looking at the history of Android. Android was a company called as Android Inc., which was founded by Andy Rubin, Rich Miner, Nick Sears, and Chris White in Palo Alto, California. It was founded in 2003. In 2005, Google acquired Android Inc. In May 2010, Froyo, that is the V2.2 of Android, was released to the market. From this release onwards, there were a huge number of devices which started entering the market. In May 2010, Froyo, that is Android version 2.2, was released to the market with a huge number of devices. And from then onwards, every 6 months, Google has been releasing updates to Android operating system. We had Gingerbread in 2011 February, July 2011 we saw Honeycomb, December 2011 was Ice Cream Sandwich, July 2012, November 2012, and again in July 2013 we saw different versions of Android Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean is one of the most used Android operating system in the market today. And in late 2013, that is in October 2013, the latest version of Android, that is KitKat, was released. So the next question which comes into mind is, why develop for Android? Develop for Android because it is the fastest growing mobile operating system. As of now, a statistic shows that over 1 million Android devices are activated on a daily basis across the globe. It has the fastest growing mobile application store. Currently, Google Play Store has more than 1.2 million apps. You name a task, you will have an app for it. And finally, it is the dominant smartphone operating system. Android has 56.5% of the overall smartphone market share. It is open source and it is free for application development. It is open platform, that is OEMs or the equipment manufacturers have the liberty to design the hardware how they want. And also, since there is a lot of competitions between the OEMs, every 6 months there is a new hardware in the market. So every 6 months you have an update to your phone. When compared with another leading smartphone operating system, these are the differences. The development language for Apple has to be Objective-C, whereas for Android it is Java or C++ can be used. And for Apple devices, for Apple apps, you need to have a Mac OS with Xcode as the development tool, whereas for Android you can develop using any system you have. It could be Windows, it could be Linux, it could be on Mac OS, and all the development tools required for Android development is free, that is Eclipse, NetBeans, and if you already have a Visual Studio, you even have Visual Studio plugins, or even you could just use a plain text editor, any text editor for Android application development. To deploy your applications to the marketplace, you need to register with Apple every year by paying $99, whereas for Android, you need to pay a one-time registration fee of $25. When it comes to app screening, in case of Apple, every application will be screened first rigorously before it is allowed to be on the store. Whereas in Android, the app screening relies on the users. So that is, unless and until your app is found to be guilty, it can stay on the store. And as it is, when it comes to the hardware, uh, Android has an open hardware platform, whereas for Apple, it's a proprietary hardware. So now that we know what is Android, we have seen the history about Android and why we have to develop for Android. Let us have a look at the architecture, Android architecture. So this image summarizes the Android architecture. You have the Linux kernel, so that is the reason we are telling Android is open source. It is based on the Linux kernel, and you have different libraries which are modified for the Android operating systems. It could be the OpenGL libraries, it could be the WebKit libraries, or it could be for the databases, it has the SQLite libraries. The runtime of Android contains Dalvik virtual machine and core libraries. Dalvik virtual machine is a Java virtual machine on which the application runs on Android platform. Now let's look at the development tools which are used to develop Android applications. So for developing Android applications, you need Java Developer Kit, that is the JDK. You need the Android SDK. You need Eclipse or any other IDE. Eclipse comes with the Android SDK, so that is a kind of preferred IDE. And finally, to integrate with Eclipse, you need Android development tools. Now let's go for the demo. In this demo, I'll be showing you the installation and configuration of the Android SDK, configuration of Eclipse IDE, and also how to develop an application using Eclipse. So you need to download the Android SDK from this link, developer.android.com/SDK. You have this button, download SDK. Download either the 32-bit or the 64-bit version of the SDK depending on your host processor. However, note that if in case you are downloading a 64-bit version of the SDK, you need to have the 64-bit version of the JDK installed. So in this scenario, I have already downloaded the 32-bit SDK. So the installation is very simple. It is just unzipping the files. So now that we have extracted the files into the SDK folder, let me go ahead and open the SDK manager. So SDK manager is the application from where you can download the app updates, download the tools required for the Android development. So you can see Android SDK tools, Android SDK platforms tools, and build tools installed already. And it has also downloaded the samples in the it has also downloaded the SDK platform for the latest version of Android, that is Android 4.4.2, Android KitKat. So it has already downloaded. You can also see that it has installed this ARM EABI v7 system image. So this is required for the emulator. So it is looking for some installations. Let me install these two packages. In the meanwhile, I'll go ahead and open Eclipse. So you can see that Eclipse is also downloaded as part of SDK. So let me create a workspace. I'm going to create a new Android application. application name for now, let me keep it as hello sample. So this project name remains the same, hello sample. Here we need to give a package name. So let me remove example. I'll give it as com.sample, hello sample. So which is the minimum version of Android required, target SDK. So since we have downloaded only the 4.4, keep it with keep the target SDK as Android 4.4 KitKat and compile it also with the same tools. Next, keep it default. Next, I have no other icon, so I'm keeping it same. And let it be a blank activity. In the meanwhile, while this project gets ready, I will go ahead and start the virtual device or the emulator. Nexus 4, 4. Okay, let me give it 7 GB of RAM. So the project is loaded in the Eclipse. You can see this is how the screen looks. It has the heading as hello sample, and in the application currently it has the statement hello world. Let me zoom in. So once the emulator is ready, we will run this application on the emulator. When we create the project, Eclipse will take care of creating this folder structure for us. So for this hello sample, we can find this folder structure. Now that the emulator is loaded, we will go ahead and deploy the application. So let's right click on the let's now that the emulator is loaded, let's go ahead and deploy the application what we created. Right click, run as Android application. So it automatically takes up the emulator. Since there is one version of emulator running, it automatically takes that version of emulator. So we can see here it's launching. So and here the application launches. application launches. So with this, we conclude the first video in this learning series. Any questions, you can send it to intelapps@beahead.biz. Thank you.